Thank you.
Oh, no problem. So the way I want to show you my decision tree whenever I'm thinking about a potential deal. And so what I do is I kind of think about it in two areas. So one is where there's no loan, and then one where there is a loan. Okay. And then whenever there's no loan, I usually kind of go through some basic, I want to focus on one strategy first, and I always go for my cash offer first. And the reason why I do that is because, like, if you can buy a brand new, say, pickup truck, say, you're looking at a new F-150, right? And it's $40,000, but you can get that same F-150 for $20,000. That's a much better deal than 0% financing at the full price. So I always try to go for the cash offer first on all my deals. Then the next thing I do is what I call a seller carryback. And I'll kind of go over a couple real case studies to kind of show you what we've done here. But so when there's no loan, I always go from a cash offer first, then I go to a seller carryback. That's basically where we're going to make the seller or the landlord into the lender. They're going to become the Wells Fargo or the Chase and stuff like that. So that's what I usually go through first, is the cash offer, then the seller carryback. And then I go into lease options. Okay, and I'm trying to monetize every one of these deals. Some of the things I'll even put in here, I'm going to put these on here, but I'm going to focus really on these first three whenever there's no loan. The fourth one is an option, and basically, and I think a lot of people are kind of familiar with lease options or options in the class here, but it's kind of like, an option basically gives you the right, but not the obligation to buy the property. So you don't have to buy that property. And then, but this will work a lot of times whenever you're close, like within $5,000 to $10,000 on a deal. If you can get the seller to lock up an option, you give them have them sign your permission slip to help them find a buyer, then that's one of the strategies. Then the last one will be is to list it. So I always want to kind of go through those different strategies when there's no loan, but the three I really want to focus on is right here: the cash offer, the seller carryback, and the lease options. Now, whenever it comes to a deal that has a loan in place, there's a couple things that we kind of focus on. So someone's got a phone call, huh? So we got FHA loans, and then we have what we call VA or conventional loans. They'll kind of fall in this other category here. So same thing here. I always want to go for my cash offer first. Okay, and then the next thing is, and a lot of people probably heard the term sub 2. And just to kind of clarify this, so sub 2 means subject to the existing financing. We're taking over that house, or taking over the loan, subject to the existing financing. And there's two different strategies. The true sub 2 is where they actually sign the title over to you, and now you have the title and the deed and stuff like that. The other one that we usually do, that I usually focus on more, is the wrap. And this is basically also known as a agreement for sale with an exact wrap, contract for deed, land contract, installment contract, all-inclusive trust deed. These are all similar names for the similar type of strategy, basically where you're basically taking that house over, making the payments, but it's a lot like basically the title doesn't transfer over. The way I kind of explain a wrap, it's very similar to, like, I don't know about you back in your day, Justin, but whenever I was younger, my mom would go to Kmart and go Christmas shopping at Kmart and put everything on layaway.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Every week,
yeah, definitely make little payments on it.
Make payments on it, right? And then at the end of that, whenever you pay that off, then you get all the stuff.
Yeah, they held it in the back. There was a little room in the back where they stored everything.
Exactly. So the same thing goes on the wrap. You don't get that title until that loan's paid off. So that's how a wrap works. It's a way to really to protect the seller. A lot of times they don't know this. I like to use the wraps if especially I'm going to assign this to someone else, because I may or may not trust the buyer. If I'm going to keep it in my own rental portfolio, then yeah, I want to sub to it and have the depreciation and all that stuff. But typically, most of the times when I do these deals, I'll usually focus a lot on the wraps. And it's mainly because I'm trying to really protect the seller. That's the reason why. And then the same things here, the option and list it, go right underneath there. We follow those same, this is my decision tree. This is how I decide what strategy I'm going to use, if there's a loan in place or no loan in place.
Yeah.
So
that makes sense.
Yeah. So now on an FHA, it's very similar, right? If you see the trend here, we're always going to go for the cash offer first. Okay. Now, I forgot to put the lease option here. Sorry, lease option, and then the option. The lease option, then the lease, then the option, and then the list it. So over here on an FHA loan, now it's not that you can't sub to a FHA loan. It's not that it's illegal. It's just most title companies won't do that through their title company. They have some sort of something with their underwriter where they want to make sure that if they're going to put some type of title insurance on this, that they don't want to lose the right to put their title insurance on property, so they don't wrap or sub to FHA loans. So we can't really use the sub to a wrap strategy. So then it goes cash, then lease option. Okay, typically, and then the same thing. Then we have the right to option it or the right to list it. And for those of you that don't know what a lease option is, or should I just ask, does anyone not know what a lease option is?
It's a good question.
Yeah.
Everybody knows what a lease option is?
Would love to hear your explanation of it.
Okay. So the way I think of a lease option, has anyone heard of leasing a car?
Yes.
So we can lease a car. A lot of times leases on a car like 2 to 3 years, right? So that's a lease on a car. Do you have the right to buy that car at the end of that lease?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. So you basically, that's a lease option. Do you get to use that car during that lease time?
Yeah.
Do you get to decorate it however you want? Do you put new seat covers on it, or
Yeah.
all that stuff? Can you drive it anywhere you feel like reasonably without damaging the car, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you get full use. You get full use and benefit of it, just like you do on a lease option on a house. And especially if you do the lease option correctly, you can either live in that house, you can sublease that house to someone else. A couple of my friends not only do that, but they'll even Airbnb it. So they'll do short-term rentals. So you can do all that. So when it comes to all these different strategies, it really depends on that decision tree. So if there's a loan in place or no loan in place. And one of my favorite strategies, as I love it, is a seller carryback. So seller carryback is basically where properties owned free and clear. Recreate the terms, recreate the rate, recreate the payments on all that. My underwriting guidelines for that is I typically like to buy a house on a wrap or a seller carryback with some equity in there in case I ever need to sell it. So I want to have around 10% equity in it. So basically I'm going to buy at 90% of ARV or below. And then I need to make sure it cash flows around $300 or more a month. And the reason is just being a landlord, things happen. ACs break, heaters break, there's vacancies, you have issues, a garbage disposal or whatever. So you want to kind of have enough cash flow to cover those type of problems when they happen. But it's very, very possible. So I want to work on a seller carryback deal with you guys. Now, here's the thing is, a lot of times we think there's absolutely no way to make a deal if the seller's just loony, right? So we have a deal right now we're working on. We have an offer in Sholo, Arizona. Now, not everyone probably knows where that is, but it's about 3 hours away from Phoenix. It's in what they call the White Mountains. Lots of pine trees. It's really pretty. It's usually 20 to 30 degrees cooler in the summertime. So whenever you're hitting like 110, 120 degrees in Phoenix, it's like 70s and 80s up in Pine Top and Sholo. So we have a seller that is asking $750,000 for a house. So get your calculators ready. I want you to figure this out. $750,000 for a house. The realtor says she won't list it for that. She'll list it for 700, but 750 is too much. So now the average rent in this area for this house will go for $2,500 year round. That's not an Airbnb. An Airbnb will make 2 to 3 times the amount of rent on this in the peak months, which is about 6 months out of the year in the summertime. So the average rent's $2,500 a month. What's your offer?
That's a good question.
So let me go ahead and write this out so we can kind of walk through this. So the 750 is the asking price.
Yeah.
Okay. The ARV is probably around 700.
Okay.
How many of us are throwing those deals away? By the way, the rent, so the monthly rent is $2,500 a month.
Which seems pretty cheap.
Mm-hmm. Right. I mean, this will probably be 2x or 3x on an Airbnb during the prime time, pretty easily. So,
yeah.
Would that be buying it at 630,000?
oh no, she's asking 750. So how are you going to structure this deal? She's not going to come off her price. She will not lower her price. She's stuck on price.
So you would offer her 750 with 2,500 a month, right? As installment sale, basically.
Mm-hmm. No, but here's the problem: is I need some cash flow.
Okay. Well, I
So
thought you were going to Airbnb it there.
I typically need about 300 plus cash flow. Okay. So now here's a good idea, Justin. So let's just do this quick math. Let's say let's say on average, okay, if I'm using the Airbnb strategy on average, maybe I can have Nick or someone do some quick math for me. Let's say on average, it'll be $250 a night.
Okay.
And we'll say we get 20, maybe low, but we'll say 20 nights filled.
Yeah, that's $5,000.
Yeah, it's $5,000. Yeah.
Okay, so $5K a month. That's average. That's because we're taking account the low months and the peak months. Okay, so $5K a month. So we can make $2,500 a month on a straight rent or $5K a month on the Airbnb rent. So let me tell you what we did here. The seller did want some money, so we're offering. Sorry, hopefully you can. It's not too crazy to see behind me here.
Is this property free and clear? I mean, the seller has no mortgage, right?
No mortgage. Okay. Yeah. So whenever I look at this, here's your house, and then here's the equity, right? So this one, there's no mortgage, so it's 100% equity on this. If we had, say, $400,000 loan right here, then that's would give me 350, or say 300 in equity, right? Because of the ARV. But on this situation, and by the way, the ARV it's probably between that 700 to 750. It's just really hard to sell those higher price homes. This is take a long time, right? So this one, there's no loan on it. So let me tell you what we're doing right now on this one. We're going to give her 5% down.
Okay, so the big question I think everybody has here, in my mind at least, too, is how do you come up with the 5%? I mean, how do you know that that's okay and it shouldn't have been 3 or or 7, or is
So
8?
so what I
is 8
usually
too
do, so
much?
what I usually do is I do 0 down usually. I usually do 0 down. They usually, if I can usually talk them to 0 down, I give them their full price. That works most of the time. This particular seller is very savvy, right? So she wants some skin in the game. And so the way we're going to do this is we're going to offer her and this is what our offer was. We gave her a 5% down. And by the way, we use private money for this, not our own cash. So what's 5% of 750?
37,500.
Bingo. 37,500. And do you think there's any lenders out there that will lend you 37,500 on a first loan position on a house that's worth 750,000?
No, I don't think so.
Anyway,
Well, my only thought is they might have an issue with it not being enough money. You're not borrowing enough. Like, we don't do loans less than 50K. You know what I'm saying?
Sorry, this chair doesn't spin.
Yeah, sorry. So most of the lenders, we have a lot of private lenders, and we can usually get this money under 10%, usually like 5 to 7%. Okay. And here's the reason why. The house is worth how much?
700.
750,000. We're asking our private lender to give us how much?
37.
Yep. My goal is to get this paid off quick though, right?
Right.
Okay. So now let's go through the payments now. Now what we did do, I typically do this a little bit differently. I typically do 0% down is what I usually go for, zero down. And then I usually go for principal payments. Sorry about my chicken scratches here. Principal payments. Okay, so this one didn't work for this lady. So what we're doing, instead of principal, we're doing interest only payments. So on this one, we're doing a 2% interest only payment. Okay, so if we use anyone have a loan calculator that they use? I use one called Easy Calculator.
I've got Carl's mortgage calculator.
I've heard that one is the best. I don't know if there's a better one.
Okay, so let's say what's our loan amount if we're taking 750 minus 37,500?
712,500.
You got it. 712,500 is the loan amount.
Yep.
Okay, now the interest only payments. Let me show you this.
Sweetheart there.
So we got it at 2%. Okay, and our interest only payments are 1187.50. Now this is my interest only payment. Now I'm probably going to have taxes and insurance on that, right? So
Sure.
usually for this area, what we're probably going to be around the $1,500 mark. Okay, maybe this a hair over, but around $1,500 is what we're paying for taxes and insurance and our interest only payment. Do I have any cash flow if I just do straight rental?
No,
No.
not at 2,500.
2,500 minus 1,500.
Okay. Well, you got 1,187. Okay, I thought $1,500 was your taxes and your insurance.
No, that's including the interest payment. Sorry.
Okay.
So this is the interest and taxes and insurance. So we're not getting any principal payments on this, right?
ITI.
ITI, yeah, not PITI. ITI. So this one we're cash flowing about 1,000 a month,
Nice.
right? That's my cash flow on this. Now, what will be my cash flow on if I do an Airbnb on average? 1,500 minus the 5,000 or 5,000 minus the 1,500.
$3,500 a month or so average.
Yeah, 3,500 a month. By the way, we're going to have this for 12 years.
A 12-year
So how-
balloon.
A 12-year balloon. Yeah, we
Okay.
have a 12-year balloon. So 3,500 times 12 is $42,000 a year. Okay. In 12 years, do you think this price will go up or down?
Yeah, traditionally it would go up. Yeah.
Yeah, in 12 years. Yeah. So on this one, the play on this for us, because this is more of a vacation rental place, and I was looking for a cabin for our family and stuff like this. This makes sense for me to Airbnb it and then use it when I want to.
Mm-hmm.
Now, out of this 42,000, can I apply any of that towards the principal?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Yeah, I can pound that down, right?
Yeah.
So,
Could. Yeah.
yep, sure can. So this is just a recent deal we're working on. Let me show you. Let me use the same seller carryback strategy and go through a real deal that was one of my rental properties as well.
So
By the way, if you guys have questions, stop me anytime. So
before you move on, in this
Yeah,
one,
oh, sorry.
just for clarity's sake, there was two at the end of the deal here. There's two
Mhm.
liens on the property. One is the private lender who loaned $37,500, which was used as a down payment towards the seller carryback of 712,500. So
Right.
that's a second position. The original
Mhm.
homeowner is in a second position there. Is that correct?
Yeah, if that's what we try to talk them into originally,
Okay.
because my goal is to have that paid off in the first year. Because remember, my cash flow is over 42,500.
Okay.
So my goal is to try to get this paid off as soon as possible. So I want to get this. I'll have time on this, but I want to get this paid off quicker than later.
Well, sure. Yeah.
So,
First. Yeah. Right away. Because you
Mhm.
want to use that money again on another deal, right?
Exactly. Recapitalize. Yeah. Now that was a little bit of a crazier deal, and we started with a really big, expensive one. But let me show you a bread and butter type of deal that we did. That was just a straight rental property.
Okay.
And by the way,
real quick
yeah,
too,
go ahead.
man. When you're on the phone with this homeowner lead, you find out they're
Mhm.
motivated. Did you get off the phone and figure all this out and call them back and then put it all together? Or were
Yes.
you just real sharp enough that you just knew exactly what to do on the phone the first time and bada bing, there it is, and bang, magic?
No, this particular one. So this particular one, we actually had a visit in person. One of the guys I'm working with, he actually lives up there. So we went over there in person first,
Okay.
talked on the phone, then went over in person, try to find out what the real needs are. It's an extra home for them. It's a second home.
Yeah.
They own it free and clear. They don't really, honestly, what was one of the reasons why they are prefer to sell it this way too, is they don't want to take the big hit on their capital gains taxes.
Right. Right. So that's
So-
why a homeowner would want to do seller financing, creative finances,
Mhm.
because of tax reasons. Is there any other reason maybe we might consider they would want to do
Oh
this?
yeah, yeah. So I'm gonna go through a scenario here with you. Now,
cool.
real quick though, just a quick statistic. Does anyone know how many homes are owned free and clear in the United States?
Oh, goodness gracious.
37%.
What was the question? What was the answer?
37%.
Oh, bingo! You Googled it, didn't you?
Ed.
I read that just this morning.
Wow, Ed.
Job, Ed.
Yeah, just under 40%, 37% nationwide. Now, mom and pop landlords that own 5 or less properties, that number jumps up over 60%. Okay, now let's go through a scenario. Here's a tired landlord that I had. Okay, and this was in Chandler, Arizona. He was stuck on his price. He's asking $175.
Chandler's a hot market too, right?
Yeah.
Very
Yep.
hot.
Now, So he wanted 175. The ARV on this was probably, so we'll say ARV is around 205 at the time. Okay, and then the rents were about 1,400 a month. Okay. Yeah, I'm thinking I got all the right numbers here. Okay, so again, he owned this free and clear. He was a tired landlord. I met him at the house, and the house was just demolished. The tenants moved, there's crap left behind, the carpets were torn up, the laminate was torn up. It was just dirty and messy. And it's just, Brandon, I'm done. I'm just done with this. I'm tired of dealing with these tenants. By the way, the ARV is 205. On a wholesale transaction, what's our formula for wholesale deals?
70% is where it starts, right?
Right, typically minus repairs and minus our profit. So on something like this, let's just do the, by the way, let's say, I think this one was around 1,400 square feet.
Yeah.
So if I'm using $15 a square foot times the repairs, so it's going to be 1,400 times 15, 21,000.
70% of 175 is 122,500.
So do ARV of 205.
Oh, okay. My bad. So I'm going to take 205,000 times 0.7. That's how I find out what 70% is. There's 143,500.
Yep, and I want to make at least $15,000 on a wholesale deal.
Minus
And by the way,
21,000.
minus 21,000, and then minus 15.
Okay, so now we're down to, with the minus 15, we're down to 107,500.
He would have told me to pound sand. There's no way.
Yeah, immediately, without question.
He was stuck on his price again. He was stuck on his price. Okay, now wholesale deals. How many wholesalers do you know that throw these leads away?
All of them.
Yeah, I'm in Phoenix, and I have probably 100 of the nation's top wholesalers, and I would say only 5 of the people that I work with probably know this strategy. So what we did is we gave him his 100. He gave him 175,000. We gave him 5K down, which gave me a loan amount of 170,000. Okay, and we did this at 5%. Okay, so if we're doing our quick math, let's see what that looks like. $170.
85, 800, yeah. 8,500.
So 175,000 at 5%, amortized over 30 years. The principal and interest payments are going to be $912.60. Okay. Now this one, basically, I had this down where the total PITI was just over $1,000 at that time. So, so the cash flow was how much? My cash flow was
400 a month.
Yeah, and the rents will typically go up, right? So I did have a balloon on this, so we have a 5-year balloon, just to kind of and balloon just means we have to have it paid off or refinance in that amount of time. Now, here's the thing: is the seller asked for 175. He was just stuck on his price. He knew that needs repairs. He didn't want to deal with the tenants and stuff like that. In 5 years, okay, let's say we go for the full 5-year term. What's the payoff on this $170,000 loan in 5 years? And I'm using my calculator here, my easy calculator. So that's month 60 on my payoff. So the payoff at that time would be 156.
And you're using your mortgage calculator that maps out the whole year to year play by play. Is that what you're using?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. Yeah, easy calculator. So by the way, how much money were they making was that homeowner making every month? He made the 912 plus this payoff. So 912 times 60. Let's see why he would even do something like this.
Getting like 54,000, like 55,000 rounded off.
54,720. Yeah.
756, is that right? Something like that. Plus this payoff of the 156, 108.62 means he actually made 210. Is this a good deal for him?
Heck yeah.
Yeah. So usually my pitch on this, by the way, is what if I can give you exactly what you're asking? He's asking 175,000 if you give me my terms. Then usually the next question is, well, what does that look like? Oh, it's terrific. What I'll do is I'll even give you a really good interest rate, which is even higher than the mortgage interest rate now. You're going to get a little over $912 a month without any tenants or anything like that. When it's all said and done, if we go for the full term, you'll make over $210,000 on this investment just by becoming the lender. So what's the difference of 210 minus 175?
35,864.
So and essentially you're going to make $35,000 more than just trying to sell it traditionally. And by the way, if he sold with the realtor, would he have to fix up the property?
Oh yeah.
Yep. Would he have to pay any real estate commissions when he sold it?
Yep.
Okay. And closing costs, all that. I covered all this one. So this was a really good deal for him. By the way, was this a good deal for me?
Well, yeah, you added $400 cash flow for five. You bought $400 in cash flow a month for $5,000 down.
Mm-hmm.
Seller picked up another $5,000 on the bottom.
Yep. So I get my money back pretty quick, right? If I only put $5,000 down. So I get my money back within the first year, typically, right?
Yeah, in the first 12 months. Yeah.
And so yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, quick question. So, for a no seller, obviously this won't be a deal because you have to put 5,000 down. So I think that's what the hiccup is for wholesalers, like the money to put down to even start that deal.
Okay.
Can you elaborate on that? How to?
Sure. So I'll show you how I've wholesaled the same deal. So let's say that I want to make at least, let's say I do an assignment on this, right? And I want to make at least $10,000 as my assignment fee. Was this a throwaway deal otherwise? Right? It was, right?
Right.
Well, assuming you didn't have what it takes to get it done personally, you would want to assign it, right?
Right. So let's say I need to bring someone else in or just assign the deal. Whenever I market this to a buyer, how much is my down payment I need?
5,000.
Well, I need 5,000 the seller.
10.
So I need 15,000.
Oh.
Right. And then what's my new asking price? Because remember the seller was asking 175.
190.
185.
It's going to be 180. It's actually 185. You're right. 185. And why is that? 185 minus 15,000 is how much?
170.
170, which includes the $5K you owe the guy that is selling you the house. Yeah.
And everything else stays the same. The PI, TI, all this stuff stays the same. So the loan balance is the same. The payment, the 91. Let me just put this here. So the 9912.
Yeah.
60 is all the same. Do you think there's any landlord that would buy this property for 15,000 down?
Is that who the end buyer is here?
Right. Yeah.
A landlord?
Usually. I
Okay.
usually sell these all to LLCs. Now, now ask me why I sell to someone that has an LLC.
Why do you sell it to someone with an LLC?
So Dodd-Frank, who can tell me about the Dodd-Frank Act? Is that's something that's put into place several years back. And basically, if you sell to someone with an LLC, they're considered a sophisticated investor, a sophisticated real estate professional. So you can do these deals all day long with someone that buys it in an LLC. If you do this to an end buyer, then you're going to have to, if you do this correctly, you should have a mortgage loan officer involved. If you're going to do a straight regular buyer, like just a retail buyer, right?
So without if you're just going to the LLC, they wouldn't need the mortgage loan originator for that. You could just go directly to them.
Yeah, if it's going to my LLC, if I'm the end buyer, and I'm considered a sophisticated real estate professional if I have an LLC and I'm buying under LLC. So I'm buying under my LLC, not under my personal name, right? So
Right.
that's the way. By the way, is this going on my credit at all?
No.
Nope. So we've done hundreds of these, and we've assigned hundreds of these. These are seller carrybacks. We'll also talk about wraps. I did more wraps than I did seller carrybacks. So
Brenda, why if you want to stay in the middle, if you want to stay in the middle of the deal?
that's a great question. So I used to work for Sean Terry.
I know.
And so at our shop, we basically assigned everything. We didn't keep anything at the time. So every deal we did was, our exit strategy was to assign. I wish we didn't, looking back now what I know, but that's what we did all the time on every deal. We assigned almost every one of our deals. I would go through and try to cherry pick a few and keep them as rentals, but for the most part, we assigned all these deals. So
Leave the wraps first. You guys switch it up
what was that? I didn't hear that very well.
on the wraps. Were they still assignable as well with the wraps that when you guys would switch those
100%.
out?
Yep, 100%. And I can hit that up next. Yeah, we do wraps too.
So,
Okay.
sorry, I don't want to interrupt. Just one more question.
You're fine, Mateo. Go ahead. Welcome. Glad you're here, man.
Thank you. So basically, if you want to do the same thing, let's sign it for the same 10K, but put it at 7% for an investor.
Oh, now he's talking my love language. Okay, now by the way, this is just doing a straight assignment. Everything's staying the same, right? The interest rate stays the same. The payments stay the same. The loan balance stays the same. But what Mateo is saying, can we sell it not only for a higher price, but can we bump up the interest rate? The answer is 100% yes. 100% yes. And in fact,
be a wrap, Brandon?
so you would sell it. You could sell it a couple of different ways. You can sell it on a seller carryback. You can sell it on a wrap, but you can do both ways. And by the way, the difference is what? Are you giving away the title on the seller carryback?
No.
You are. When you do a seller carryback, you get the title. If you do a wrap, you do not. So depending on who you are and where you're at in that transaction will depend the way you want to organize this. By the way, guys, this is mind-blowing stuff. The type of stuff we're covering right now, I usually will cover in like 6 weeks on trainings. So we're kind of blowing through. It's like drinking out of a fire hose right now.
So,
Can you please explain the difference between the seller carryback and the wrap? Because that's kind of confusing.
Perfect. So just to answer that quick question, on the seller carryback is where there's no loan. So it's our chalkboard, as Eddie Speed says, it's our chalkboard, our chalk. We can create it however we want. So now this is a seller carryback. I'm going to go into the wrap next. But Mateo, I just wanted to run through this scenario real quick for you. Let's use Mateo's question here. Can we bump up the price? Can we sell this retail as well? We don't have to sell to a landlord. We can go to a mortgage loan officer and do all this. and you're probably going to get a much better profit on this if you do that. What can I sell this for retail wise?
Retail, well, you could,
You
Well,
can
it
sell it
depends
for
on the
more than
model.
205.
205.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if I get it cleaned up right, I don't have to have it perfect. Can I sell it close to retail?
yeah,
Especially
sell it
especially
as is.
if there's no banks needed and I'm the bank.
Well,
So I
Ben,
can sell.
I'm sorry,
I
this
can,
property needs a lot of work, right? So how are you gonna sell it for retail
well,
price?
okay, now I said that it needed work because like it had messed up carpets and ripped up vinyl and stuff like that.
Oh,
But would someone, do you know of any retail buyer that would come in if we put, say I put, just make it rent ready, a rent ready versus a retail ready property is a difference of say $5,000 to make it rent ready versus say 20,000 to make it retail ready, right?
right.
So if I just want to make it rent ready and I got this done and I'm using Mateo's strategy, I can easily sell this for 205. So I want to do the numbers on this just using Mateo's strategy here. So I'm going to sell, my asking price is going to be 205. Okay, could I ask more for $10,000 down?
Yep.
You could,
Okay, typical on a down payment on a house, what do they usually give you?
20%.
Okay, is that unreasonable?
No,
Okay, so what is 20% of 205?
40,000.
45 roughly.
So hold on a second. I'm gonna because I want to make math easy. So what is 205 minus 170?
30.
35.
35,000. So let's use just to make the math easy. I'm going to use this as a down payment here. So I don't know why this is not working. Hold on. Now there it goes, 35. So I'm going to get a $35,000 down payment. Do I get to keep all this 35?
no, you got to give the down payment to the seller.
Right. So I get a pocket. So I get $30,000 up front though, right? In my
Right.
pocket. Okay. Now let's say I bump this interest rate up. Mateo, what interest rate do you want?
Usually for owner finances like 7, 8%, even 9. Just do 8%.
Okay. So let's do 8%. And I just lost my phone. Hold on. Crap. Let me see if I can jump to easy calculator here. I think I'm sure. Am I sharing my screen on my calculator, by the way?
No, it's
think
got
I am.
it's got your Creative Real Estate Live banner.
Okay. Hold on a second. That's not going to work then. Okay. So the loan amount is 170. Interest rate is 8%, and we'll keep it the same at 30 years. So now the new monthly payments will be $1,247.40. So the new principal and interest payment is $1,247.40. Is that still okay? I mean, is this new buyer, are they okay with that?
Yes, because it's less than the
Is this
rent.
affordable?
Yes, it's less
Yeah,
than the
even
rent.
if they had tax and insurance, they're still going to be. Yeah, so they're basically buying the house instead of renting it. Okay, so 1247. Okay, now by the way, what's my cash flow on the monthly rent?
Oh, there'd be the difference between that, which is
Yeah, do 1247.40 minus 912.60. What's that?
300.
What is it?
minus what was it, Brandon?
Do
335.
1247.40 minus 912.60. So take this one and then minus this one.
300 and
334.80.
334.80.
Okay.
Yes, yeah.
Now, by the way, let's say I get this for how many years?
You said
We're
5?
having a 5-year balloon, so that's times 60 months. So how much is that?
20,100 roughly.
20,100. Okay. And then my payoff, by the way, is going to be different here than it is from here. So I got to find out what my payoff is. So my payoff over here, let me just do my calculator real quick. Amortization on month 60 is going to be 161,618. 161. Oops. Okay, and then the payoff over here so what I'm doing, I'm finding out the difference on the different interest rates and what my payoff balance will be compared to my new buyer. So month 60, this is going to be 156, 108. So 156, 108. So let's see here. That is going to be Nick, can you do 161,618?
That's
minus
5510. 5510.
it seems bigger than that, but I guess you're right. Yeah, 5510. Yeah, you're right. All right, so add these all up together. This is how much I make in 5 years without ever owning the property.
$35,000. No,
$55,000.
55,000.
610. Yep.
Okay, and by the way, if I sold it like that, did I have any tenants to worry about?
Nope.
Did I have any AC to worry about?
Nope.
So if the AC goes out you got a home loan on your house, do you call up Chase Bank to fix the AC?
No.
No. So no, that's one way. By the way, if I kept this, if I stayed in the middle, right, and I just rented this out or sold on a lease option, do you think this price goes up or down in 5 years?
Up.
Yeah. So by the way,
more, and then the tenant will do the renovation or whatever the buyer's going to do the renovation is going to put the property like.
So was this a win for the seller?
Yeah, we got what
right.
they want.
He got what he wanted, right?
Yeah.
Was this a win? Was this a win for me?
Yes. Very much so.
Like, yeah. And then the seller or the end buyer, I mean, was this a win for the end buyer? Did they get a house without a bank loan? And
True.
do they get to do they get the all the tax write-offs for the interest since they're the homeowner now?
That's win-win-win, baby.
Oh yeah.
Win.
That's it.
All right. So do you see why I love the seller carrybacks a lot?
Oh yeah.
Can I go one more? Do we have time for another demonstration on the wraps?
Yeah. I absolutely.
Yes,
man.
please.
Go for it.
All righty. So same type of
wrap it
system.
up.
What's that?
Let's wrap it up.
Yeah, let's wrap it up. Okay. So all right, here's one. We'll call this we'll say that this is $75,000 on this loan, and the ARV on this is going to be $100,000. Okay. Now, according to our regular wholesale formula, is this still a deal?
On the edge.
No,
It's not, right? Because
it's not 70%.
70% of ARV minus the repairs minus the profit.
No, it's not.
So we can even say this is a good home. Like, say there's not a whole lot to it. It's someone moved into it a couple of years ago. It's not a whole lot to do to it, but you know, they know that if they list this property with a realtor, what do they walk away with? By the way, do they
Minus
do they have to pay any? Do they have to pay commissions?
Yep.
Right. Usually 6%. Right. 3%
Yeah.
to the
Yeah.
buyer's agent, 3% to the seller's agent. Do they have to pay? Usually you're going to pay concessions as well. That's usually 1 to 3%, meaning that's like helping the buyer end up buying the property. And then usually you got closing costs, you know, usually 1 to 2%. Okay, so on average, we're, you know, cost of sales around 10%, right? So let's also say that this property, on this type of deal, I want to just do the quick math so I'm not shooting you wrong here. 75 calculated. So on something like this, we'll say that the PITI is going to be around $700, okay, a month. And then we'll say the rents on something like this over here would be $1,200 a month. Okay. So the seller's moving out of town and they decided not to sell the property with a realtor because maybe it needs a little bit of work. If they sold it with a realtor, they would net how much? About 90,000, right?
Yeah.
And would they have to pay any house payments and any utilities in the next 3 to 4 months that it takes to sell?
Yeah.
Yep. So they're probably out another $1,000 a month at least, just for that. So if they can sell this quick and they can move on pretty quick, they're pretty happy. So usually my conversation goes like this: Mr. and Ms. Seller, what are your immediate cash needs?
I like that.
So what are your immediate cash needs? And usually they start going through, well, my new apartment I'm renting down in Florida is going to be $1,200 a month. My security deposit's another $1,200, so that's $2,400. I'm wanting to rent a U-Haul truck. So I get them really talking about the details and the specifics, right? And a lot of times I can get these type of deals between $1,000 to $5,000 down. Almost always I can get these for $1,000 to $5,000 down, and then I take over the payments. So the way let's say if I gave them $5,000 down, let's say I was really nice, I gave them $5,000 down. Okay, so that 5K is going down to the seller. What's my purchase price then? If I have to add 5,000 to that loan amount.
You're at 95?
No, 75 plus 5 right here, right? So the loan balance is 75,000, and then we're going to give them 5,000 down on top of that.
So you're at 80.
At 80, yep. 80K down. Now, I'm going to look at this as just wholesaling it, okay? If I'm just going to wholesale this deal, because I always want to make sure I can do this, I need to make 10,000 bucks. So if I need to make $10,000, what is all of this going to look like over here on this side? What's my new asking price?
95.
Actually, it's 90, right? But my down payment, this is, I think, where it gets confusing. I need my money up right here, and I need the money for the seller.
15.
So 15 down.
Yeah.
And then the loan balance is 75,000. And then the PITI is 700 a month. By the way, is this a good deal for the landlord, the new buyer?
Yeah, it's a great deal.
What's their monthly cash flow?
400.
500 a month.
500 a month. And let's say we get a 5-year balloon on this. If we had to put a balloon, the longer the better. 10 years, the full term, whatever you can negotiate. But let's say they got to get paid off sooner. I don't go less than 3 years on any of these, by the way. So, so is this a deal for? Remember, they put $15,000 down. They're getting $500 a month cash flow for the next 5 years. Does that make sense? Yeah, they made. So the total amount of money that they make in 5 years is what's
30.
60 times? Yep, 30K, right? So they make 30K on the cash flow. Now remember, they put 15,000 into this, so really it's 15K. Does the price of this house go up or down in the next 5 years?
Goes up.
Yeah. Would 5% a year be unreasonable
Maybe
for
not.
appreciation?
Yeah. Probably
No.
not.
So if 5 years it went up $5,000 a year, that'd be 125,000, right?
That's reasonable.
Right.
Yeah. That's not unreasonable, right? So 125,000. And do you think this loan balance goes up or it goes down in 5 years?
Goes down.
It goes down. So let's say it just goes down maybe 5,000, not a whole lot. So let's say the new payoff is 70, right? So now what's the difference between 125 and 70?
55,000.
55.
Okay, and did they make any money over here on the cash flow?
Yeah, they made 30,000 over the
Well, they
six.
made, remember the 15 down they already put down. So I'm just going to take this 15,000 right
That's
here.
18. That's
Oh, so-
18,000. That's 6 a year at 500 a month.
So
There you go.
So they made what, 70 on this? Is that right? They made 70,000 total cash flow in 5 years. Was that worth it to them?
So for $15,000 in cash, they bought how much
They
again?
bought a loan. They bought a loan.
Yeah.
They bought a loan. They were making $500 a month cash flow. Remember, I subtracted. So I had 30,000 down, but I took away their down payment, so they only
Yeah.
made 15.
Yeah.
So from the sales price minus the loan balance was 55. I'm assuming no, we're not including any real estate commissions or anything like this
Sure.
at the moment, but we can add that back in. But hey, they still made, like, just off of these numbers, that's around $70,000.
Yeah.
By the
Boom.
way,
There you go.
the seller wanted to sell. They needed to move fast, right? They didn't want us. They don't want to wait on this, and they were okay as long as they got $5,000 down, right?
Nice.
They're okay making it was with $5,000 down if you took over their loan. So was this a win for the seller? Did they get what they wanted?
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Remember, the ARV is 100 here. It's not a big stretch, right? The ARV was 100. They got 80 for it. By the way, did we make any money?
Oh yeah. 10 grand.
Yeah, you got your 10K. Yeah.
We got our 10K. And was our end buyer, the landlord, happy?
Yep.
So it's a win-win-win all the way around.
Nice.
These happen all the time. These are, I probably do more wraps than I do carrybacks or anything else. These are the ones I do the most.
Hey, Brandon.
Yeah.
All right. So let's just say it is a seller with a cash offer, right? How can we do a creative term for, like, maybe a seller carryback for 2 to 3 months to allow them to, if it's the down payment or the cash that they want, to get them a down payment to get the property, and then allow like hold the note for 3 months, and they get cashed out after the 3-month term. Like,
So you're saying the seller wants their down payment. You want to do a carryback on the down payment? I'm confused.
yeah, or not so much on the down payment, but like if it's a cash deal, let's say it's a property that they want $85,000 or like $125,000 for, right? And they want to. We're trying to negotiate the price down. Let's say we get it down to 100, and they say no, deal's off. Like the lowest I'll go is 120. Okay, well, could we do 120? And could we'll do the 120 cash, but could you finance that out for 3 months? I'm trying to think of a way to get that
why
out
would
later.
why would you only do 3 months though? I guess is what I'm wondering.
Or maybe 3 to 6 months, however I could get it. Like if it was, especially if it's a deal that's on market.
Get our exam, or I got it.
Is really what I'm looking at. It's like if it's on market, to try to give it more of an incentive to like a construction buyer or like a flipper. If the cash deal was way too much up front, to make it more of a creative term, to where it would allow them to get in the property, do the flip, and then sell it, and they'll pay for it on the back end.
You can definitely do that. Now, also what we've done on carrybacks too is, just so you know, you can, when you go to sell the house, by the way, think about this on wholesaling. Let's say you're trying to make a cash deal, right, on a wholesale deal, and you're trying to make $20,000. But the amount that the cash buyer is willing to do is, say, maybe they're only doing say $10,000. You're only gonna make $10,000 on that cash deal. Could you carry back another $10,000 on that property until they sell it? Yeah, we've done it.
Yeah, you could do that. Yeah.
So you don't have to negotiate down your price all the time. You can say, I'll tell you what I'll do is I'll just put a note on it, and I'll collect my other 5K or 10K or whatever it is after you fix up the house and sell it.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. Now,
thanks, man.
Yeah. Justin, do I have time for one more example?
Yeah, man. Yeah. Mi casa, su casa, sir. Thank you. This has been lovely today. The only downside to it is it makes us all hungry for more.
That's right. So here's a little mobile home that we had on land. The guy owned it free and clear. He wanted $55,000 for it. By the way, the ARV was $55,000. So, I mean, he was stuck on his price. I mean, he really wasn't budging.
Yeah.
So what we did is we said, we basically negotiated a deal where we said, okay, what we'll do, we'll give you $5,000 down. And then the loan is for $50,000. And then what we agreed to is to give them payments. I got an echo, I think. We'll give you payments of $500 a month until it's paid off. So now at $50,000 on the loan divided by 500, that's 100 months. Okay, or just a little over 8 years. He was okay with that because he got his full asking price, right? We gave him $5,000 down. He carried back a loan of $50,000. We gave him $500 a month. By the way, the rents were about $1,000 a month on the rent. So it made sense. By the way, what did I negotiate here? What type of interest rate did I negotiate?
Nothing.
0%.
Bingo. 0% interest. Look how fast we got that paid off. Just a little over 8 years.
Yeah.
And by the way,
was this a tired landlord?
Yeah, it was a tired landlord.
So he'd
he
already
has to
made
get
all
them
his
done.
money on this deal, probably
Mhm.
5 times over, and now he's going to make all of the money back again selling it this way to you. I mean, why not? Why wouldn't he?
Yeah, it made sense to him. By the way, this was done. Me and my buddy did this. He actually kept this as his rental, and he actually paid this off, I think, in under 3 years. He used the cash to pay it down quicker too. So on the rent. So now in under, we'll say under 4 years, now he has a free and clear rental property that's just bringing him how much money a month every single month.
Yeah, the full market value rent, whatever that is,
Mhm.
$1,000 a month.
1,000.
Yeah.
$1,000 a month, and it's probably gone up by now.
So he bought $1,000 a month for life using $5,000 in cash. That's that's what's so phenomenal about these deals.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Exactly.
That's tremendous.
So can you guys can has anyone ever thrown away a wholesale deal? Now looking at that could have been a creative financing deal. I know I did.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, all the time.
And I think we're all guilty of not asking the right questions. You know, we don't go
Yeah.
into it deep enough. We're like, oh, this guy's free and clear. He's not motivated. Yeah, well, all right. Yeah, I think I'll just throw this one out. You know, that one, I'm guilty of that too. And in reality, the guy might not be motivated, but he would be motivated in the sense that he doesn't want to pay capital gains taxes on a big cash windfall when he
Right.
doesn't need the cash. Okay, so right, am I thinking right?
Yeah, you're exactly right. So just I want to explain something. We're used to dealing with motivated sellers, right?
Yeah.
So like especially like Sean Terry built up his whole rental portfolio using wraps because people were going in foreclosure. They're a month or two behind or a couple months behind. And he would just catch them back up, give them $1,000, $2,000, move out, and then he had a rental property for the rest of his life if he wanted it, right? Now he ended up selling all those, and he made a big buttload of money at the time before the last downfall. But so that's wraps, and that's motivated sellers usually. On the seller carrybacks where they own free and clear, do you think they're in a lot of financial distress?
No, probably not at all.
That's a different conversation.
They probably own a golf cart.
Yeah. A lot of times, here's what they want. They want a couple things. They want their price. If you can give them their price, remember the seller wants to know what's in it for me. So the way I answer that question, what's in it for me? Hey, I'll give you your full price. By the way, with the way I structure my deals, do you think that they will get more than their asking price when it's all said and done?
Yep.
Yeah. It's like, I'll let you win if you let me win too. We can both win.
That's it. And if you explain it that way, remember, they don't care about you. They don't care what you want to make and what your profits are. They can care less. They want their price and they want their stuff. So if you give them their price, you can get your terms. And it happens all the time.
Beautiful. That's enticing.
No more questions.